Heartbroken dog goes to the shelter and instantly knows he's being surrendered. One of the worst things that can happen to a dog is losing its family. Every year, thousands of dogs are abandoned by their owners and find themselves sad and confused in a kennel, wondering what they ever did to deserve such cruelty. For one volunteer, one of the surrenders she witnessed moved her to tears, and this story is sure to melt your heart too. It's not a situation that's unique, unfortunately, but it's the dog's reaction and the owner's response that'll disturb you. By the end, you'll have to choose whose side you're on. California native Nancy Klein had always loved animals, so volunteering at the Modesto Stanislaus Animal Service Agency was a no-brainer. It was there that she met a sweet dog named Moses, whose story is most likely going to break your heart. Poor Moses hadn't had much luck in his short 4 years of life. A pit bull with a sweet demeanor, he was already being surrendered by his second family. And while pit bulls are known to have aggressive tendencies, in this instance that wasn't the case. He was kind and lovable, seemingly picture perfect. Everyone in the shelter asked the same question of why was such a perfect dog given up for adoption? Didn't take long until everyone was gasping. Unfortunately, pit bulls are one of the more common breeds that find themselves in shelters. Due to the breed's reputation, they have a harder time being adopted and are usually one of the top breeds to be euthanized. For pit bulls, surrender at a shelter is usually a death sentence. Klein couldn't believe that anyone would want to give up Moses. She detailed his surrender on a Facebook post. As she was leaving the shelter, a dog was being surrendered, and while it was a sad moment, it was the dog's reaction to being left that touched her heart. According to Klein, sweet Moses held on to his owner. She revealed it was like the dog knew he was being left. Tears in her eyes, Klein approached the owners to understand why he was being surrendered. As Klein walked towards the family, she was bursting at the seams with anxiety. It's a tough question for anyone to ask, and she didn't want to offend them, but she had to know why they were giving the pup up. Nerves weren't the only emotion, though. Klein knew that if the family gave her an insensitive answer, she'd have to hold her tongue. She was tired of seeing so many pit bulls being given up on, and she wanted to make sure there was nothing that could be done to prevent this horrible circumstance. So she took a deep breath and asked them why. Their answer surprisingly simple. As she asked the family why they were giving the sweet boy up, she couldn't help but feel the seriousness of the situation. She realized the family didn't want to give up their pup, but they were faced with a situation no pet owner should have to go through. Instead of feeling angry with the family at their decision, she felt terrible they were in such a tough situation. Truth is, they didn't have much of a choice. It was revealed the family had adopted Moses a year earlier, but due to relocating, they wouldn't be able to take him. Sad fact was their new home wouldn't allow dogs, and though Moses was a sweet and docile boy, they felt he deserved better. Though they didn't want to give him up, many people thought they could have done more to better the situation, especially after witnessing his next reaction. As time went on, Moses became more agitated and upset. Klein snapped a photo of the poor pup on his hind legs clinging to his owner. It was obvious the dog didn't want to be left at the shelter and knew he was moments away from being an orphan. In a desperate attempt to gain sympathy, Moses started to beg for affection. Unfortunately, the owners remained stoic, not returning it. Scared and confused, Moses began to seek out comfort from other people at the shelter. Klein was absolutely heartbroken by the poor dog's desire to just feel some love. Klein shared her thoughts on the heartbreaking experience in the media. "He's one of the sweetest dogs I've ever met," Klein revealed. The poor dog took to Klein and crawled up in her lap. Moved to tears, Klein could tell he wanted her to take him with her. According to her account, Moses wanted to meet everyone at the shelter that day, especially a little boy and his mom he seemed to instantly connect with. Klein revealed it was hard for her not to adopt Moses right there on the spot, but she knew with how sweet he was, his adoption chances would be pretty good. Klein quickly uploaded the video of his surrender to social media to hopefully share his story and increase his adoption chances. Of course, many people had opinions on the condition of his surrender, and many were vocal. Probably safe to assume that most of the responses were negative. Animal lovers united in their disgust that the family would move to a home where animals wouldn't be allowed. And despite the owners being responsible in bringing the dog to a shelter, many felt they should be reprimanded. The aggressive comments continued. One person commented that people who surrender pets due to a new living situation should be banned from adopting a new pet in the future. According to the social media user, you can always find a home that allows animals. However, this was just a tame post. Some people had even stronger words for the owners and weren't afraid to say. You'll have to decide whose side you're on. "Humans that discard their animals as if they're trash are horrible," one user wrote. "They don't deserve the kindness of an animal." Despite the strong negative reaction, some people believe that without knowing the family's full circumstances, you can't judge. Despite the reasoning, the most important thing now was finding Moses a new home, and the search began. Regardless of the difference of opinions, everyone did agree they wanted Moses to get his happy ending. Surrender was definitely a better option than a family getting abusive with a dog they no longer wanted. Not to mention, Moses was so lovable, many people jumped at the chance to adopt. Thankfully, it didn't take long for Moses to find a new family. Klein posted the happy news on Facebook where she revealed Moses now had 2 children to play with, endless love, and toys. His new family was adamant they'd be his forever home. While some may look at Moses' reaction to being surrendered as unique, truth is dogs have the ability to express a full range of emotions. They know when something's wrong and can express fear, sadness, and most of all love for their human owners. It's even more heart-wrenching to know that Moses had a clear idea of what was going on the entire time, feeling unwanted and unloved. Dr. Stanley Korn has researched the psychological development of dogs for some time and believes that animals have the emotional capacity of a 2-year-old human child. This means their emotional development stops before they can feel and understand guilt, contempt, shame, or pride. Since dogs have the emotions of a toddler, it means they express love very strongly. They're big babies that just need a loving home, and after careful consideration of their mental capacity, it's horrifying that anyone would give up their dog willingly. Dr. Cohen explains it best. The good news is that you can feel free to dress your dog in that silly costume for a party. You won't feel shame regardless how ridiculous he looks, Cohen told Psychology Today. But your dog can still feel love for you and contentment when you're around, and aren't these the emotions we truly value? Moral of the story, treat your animals like you would a 2-year-old child, with patience, respect, kindness, and love.